But nonetheless, there. And it's a very clever game. I guess impact
Unpredictability. I didn't hear the question.
That's right. I haven't seen it so far. It's happening somewhere in this room.
That's the exact word I used to describe feelings. You know, just like very disarming.
That's so fun.
Hey, all right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Really appreciate it. We're really excited for Caitlin's presentation and experience. I'm looking forward to it. Aina and I have a couple announcements we'd like to make before we get going. And also, can I just have maybe one volunteer from the back? If anyone is coming in late, I'm going to need you to just run down and let them in because the door locks. So if I could just like wait anyone in the back. Or okay, you're it. Thank you.
Wait, which door?
The front door downstairs.
Okay.
There's just a sign on there. So just a couple things. So the Wi-Fi network, there's a sheet of paper to the right of the beer with the network and password if anyone needs to get on. We're also using the hashtag transmedia NYC. So if you're on Twitter and you're posting tweets, please use that hashtag.
Right now.
Aina and I are planning a planning meeting. We've been really excited with how this meetup has grown over the past 3 or 4 months, and it's really exciting how things are coming together. And we're trying to continue to keep these monthly meetups happening. So we're going to be having a meeting on Tuesday at 6 p.m. in this office. Anyone who wants to help us plan things is invited to come. We're going to be working on things like programming over the next 3 or 4 months, having who's going to be making presentations and things like that. And also, as the meetup continues to grow, we're going to be trying to find a new locations to host it. So anyone is invited to help us participate there. That meeting will be Tuesday at 6 p.m. in our office here. Open to anybody. Afterwards, after we're done, everyone's going to be going over to the Breslin for some drinks and some follow-up conversation. So after we're done here, please feel free to head on over to the Breslin. They've got some good beer and it's a good, cool place. I think that's pretty much it. And if anyone else has any general announcements before we get into the presentation, let me know, please.
Hey, my name's Brian Fountain. I just wanted to give you guys, just tell you a real quick project that.
Hey, Brian.
Yep. Sure. Yeah.
Gotta be on camera.
For those who are viewing by streaming, so I just wanted to tell you about one quick project that me and 3 other guys have been working on this week. That was conceived of on Friday, was prototyped on Saturday, and we're sort of just basically turning it on today. It's called Voxora. It's VOXORA, and I'll tweet it on the hashtag so if you guys want to check it out. It's a real simple idea. It's voicemail for places. So all you do is you check in through Foursquare like you normally would. If that place that you're at has messages, it will text you and let you know. And it's a communal message board. You can call that number and leave your own messages. And since we just launched like today, it doesn't have too many features, but some of the features that we will be adding over the next couple weeks are private messages for your friends, and other great sort of features like voting and downvoting once it becomes a situation where a venue might have lots of different messages to it. So Check it out online. You can go to voxora.com. You'll just authenticate with Foursquare, or you can call the number, which is 917-300-1505. Cool. Thanks.
All right, so we are gonna get going here. Are we?
We're just waiting for them to cut the music, I think.
Oh, okay. The music will be cut shortly.
Alright.
Please hold for these announcements. For those of you online, thank you for joining us. We have an active live stream group, so if you're on Twitter, you'll be hearing them and you'll be hearing the feedback. And we also have, I believe, a contingent of people that are currently streaming it across the street at the Breslin, and they are keeping our seats warm for us so that when we go there, we'll be able to enjoy it. Anyway, without further ado, I'm excited that Caitlin Burns has been able to come and present this project, Jurassic Park Slope. As you know, independent transmedia projects are what we're all excited about. It's cool to do stuff that has lots of big budgets and money, but it's really, really exciting to have creative, independent projects from really creative, fun people like Caitlin. So I'll let her intro her performance, and what we'll do is we'll have we'll have the performance, and we'll take a little break. We'll kind of mingle for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll do kind of a conversation with Caitlin about the process of making Jurassic Park Slope, and then we shall head over and get our warm seats. Thank you all for coming.
Hi everybody, I'm Caitlin Burns. You'll hear more about me.
You have to be there.
I'm Caitlin Burns, and you'll hear a lot more about me later, but what I want to talk about right now is that you guys, and you guys watching at home, are going to see the first glimpse of the narrative of the feature, Jurassic Park Slope, and that's going to be happening as soon as I stop talking. So I'm going to go over there now and let them get to it. So you're already watching. You guys are here at my mercy, and those of you at home should follow along at the hashtag and see what happens.
Thanks, boss lady. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome. I'm now like the third or fourth person to say welcome, but welcome again. Anyhow, to the inaugural podcast of Botany and Clyde. Really proud of that name. Possibly more than I should be, or just the right amount. Okay, so for those of you who do not know me, which is literally every single person in this room, my name is Ellie. I am a graduate paleobiology student. I'm currently between my master's and my doctorate, and I am looking for a program, but I have no money, and so I have not found one yet. So I'm kind of taking a break from the world of academia, and I am right now working as an unpaid social media intern for our darling presenter, Ms. Caitlin Burns. We'd just like to take a minute before we kind of dive in, keep my hands down here, before we dive into everything, to thank our wonderful sponsors, Murmurco, as well as the Transmedia Meetup, for letting us use their stuff to make this happen. Speaking of happening, everybody, you can follow what is happening at hashtag transmedia NYC. So I love social media. Who doesn't? Clearly. But I did miss paleobotany an awful lot. So I started a blog, like you do. And I have a Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Botany and Clyde. And there's a link there to my Tumblr, and because I have one of those as well, and all that good stuff. Okay, enough about me. This is my dear friend and associate and scientist and fellow social media maven, Dr. Malcolm. Oh my God, what is your last name?
Malcolm is my last name.
Okay, Dr. Malcolm. Malcolm is of the blog Chaos Suave, your source for all things chaos, and he is in fact a chaotician.
Yeah, yes.
Malcolm and I actually met last week at the X-Ray Eyeballs concert at the Gutter on Wythe, and Malcolm was like, hey, I'd like to embed some content onto your Tumblr, and I was like, well, why don't you just come on my streaming podcast?
Something like that, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna try a little bit of cross promotion here, listeners. All right, let's see if we can stir up a little bit of chaos with Ellie. See, things like light and particles, storms, animals, whatnot, they don't follow set patterns or schedules. The other week I posted an article on my blog. Scientists are investigating the behavior of light when it appears inside of a fractal object. Now the thing to understand about this is that it really is the worst of both worlds. Fractals, while visually very, very beautiful, are at their core highly abstract mathematics. As such, they are mind-bendingly hard to deal with.
See.
Hi again.
Hi again. Hey.
Who are you looking at?
Oh, everyone. My boyfriend Alan just showed up. Hey, baby. Nice hat.
Oh, this is the perfect example. You see, boyfriends do not follow set schedules or patterns. They don't necessarily show up on time.
Well, Alan is a writer. He actually just got a new gig working for Fab Comics. Yeah, working for Fab. He's very talented.
Well, of course, most writers aren't.
You know, this has a lot to do with my field of study, what you're talking about. Flowering plants in particular underwent a lot of evolutionary innovations starting in the Cretaceous period. It was all very rapid and it happened very suddenly in a pretty short period of time. And all of a sudden there were all these novel structures, carpels, petals, sepals, stamens, and the sine qua non of flowering plants, unforeseen, nonetheless, kind of jump-started this exponential growth of all of these other species.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exponential growth. I'm feeling that right now.
But what I don't think I really understand is the idea of chaos.
Well, Ellie, I refuse to believe you're not familiar with the principle of attraction. Simply deals with unpredictability in complex systems, okay? Its only real principle is the butterfly effect. A butterfly can flap its wings in Beijing, and in Central Park you get rain instead of sunshine.
Yeah.
A little too fast.
Just a little.
A little over your head.
Oh.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's fine. All right, there's a first time for everything. So, just gonna grab your bottle of kombucha here.
Sweet.
All right. And what I'm gonna ask you to do for me is just make like a kitten. One hand's plenty.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Now, what I want is just to watch what happens when I place a drop of your sort of fermented fungus water type drink on your hand here. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, freeze. Don't move. I'm going to do the exact same thing from the exact same place, but before I do, I want to ask you, which way do you think it's going to go? Okay, now it could go the same way. It could go down the side of your hand this time, maybe down between two fingers here.
Mm-hmm.
Could go sort of down the back of your wrist. What are you thinking?
I think same way.
Same way.
Yeah,
All
same
right.
way.
Let's take a look. Okay. Nice and still. Nothing has changed. And oh, what happened? It changed, right? Why is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, luckily I'm here to tell you. It's
Okay.
because the principle of tiny variations, right?
Mm-hmm.
The orientation of hairs
Mm-hmm.
on your hand, the amount of blood distending in your vessels, all right? Imperfections in the skin,
Imperfections.
microscopic,
Right.
invisible,
Right.
I don't see anything wrong there.
Clearly.
Right.
Right.
But nonetheless, endlessly variable, never repeating, and with an absolutely tremendous impact on the outcome. Now, what do we call that?
Unpredictability.
That's right. That's the correct answer. And while we haven't necessarily seen it yet tonight, I have a feeling it's happening somewhere right
It
now.
smells like vinegar.
Well, I'm afraid that's your choice.
Nice.
You know, life is funny like that, right? No, you meet somebody new,
Mm-hmm.
somebody maybe you've never met before,
Mhm.
you might never meet again. It changes the entire course of your life,
Yeah.
right? It's dynamic. It's exciting.
Alan.
I think. Perfect example again, right? Who could have predicted that Alan would suddenly leave the room for no discernible reason? And again, I'm right, all right? Now Ellie has gone. Perfectly reasonable seeming woman, up, running away after a man in a hat like that. Who could have predicted it? Totally chaotic, right? And now here we are. I'm by myself. I'm talking to myself. That's chaos theory, right? Now what's happening? It's totally unpredictable, right? I'm being told perhaps that I should wrap things up, and I think that seems reasonable, so I'll do that. Oh Jesus. I want to thank you all for the inaugural. Who could predict how to say that word? The first Botany and Clyde podcast. Our presenter, Caitlin Burns, will be coming up in a moment. And of course, if anyone's interested in checking out my own blog, Teo Suave, I've got a lot of information about numbers I could give anybody who's interested. But with that, I'm going to hand it over. Thank you all very much.
Thanks. I'm sure that you'll be able to see some stuff going online right now. If you're following Twitter, or if you're looking at Jurassic Park Slope, Botany or Clyde, or KS Suave, you'll be able to follow that very scene later on into the night. But right now, I think, are we going to take a short break for tech, or if you want to bring this over? Talk amongst yourselves. Feel free to mediate, see what's going on online. I'm not going to sing or dance until this is up, so I'll rely on the actors to act for you. Yay!
Yeah, can someone get the lights, please? It's never, you can take the
Okay. Can we scoot a little closer, because that's going to be very far away. All right. Let's see. Can we? I guess they can't see me. Are we going to see me?
I can go back and forth.
No. It's dark. That's all. I can talk in the dark. I can do that. That works. Hi everyone. I'm assuming you're still here. Can't see you. No. Probably better that you can't see me. I'm Caitlin Burns, and I'm a transmedia producer. My day job is with Starlight Runner Entertainment. My boss is Jeff Gomez, who, if you've looked up transmedia, you may have seen some of his speeches or writings or any number of things. But I've been in this business for the better part of a decade, and I've worked on transmedia. I'm assuming that most of you who are tuning in or who are here tonight are familiar with the term. Basically, it involves taking a storyline, a narrative, and working it through different platforms so that they don't overlap, so that there's a premeditated flow, and so that they talk back and forth between the audience and the creators. And it's a lot of fun, and it's very sensible, given that we're all very naturally flowing from one platform to another these days. But ultimately, it's all about story. And I was recently turned into a PGA, Producers Guild of America, recognized transmedia producer under their new crediting. And I've worked on a number of big properties: Avatar, Halo for Microsoft, the video games, Pirates of the Caribbean was one of my first, Disney Fairies, and then Tron that came out this past December, Legacy. But that is sort of, you can find out about that from Starlight Runner's website. A lot of people have worked on those properties. Let's talk about me. My background is, I went to school for theatrical production design. I wanted to be a costume designer, and I got involved with experimental theater and live events. I did everything from big masquerade loft parties to renegade street parades. And we had a lot of fun making mischief in the city. And I found out that there's a lot you can learn from guerrilla events that translates into more professional sorts of narrative extrapolations, film, big franchises, and the way you can get an independent feature off the ground. And with professionalism and all sorts of sobriety in mind, I want to talk to you about Jurassic Park Slope, which is my independent project. We started pre-production on it last summer, and we've gotten a lot of interest. I mean, clearly enough to get into the transmedia meetup, and I appreciate all of you coming out and all of you tuning in at home. I wanted to talk to you tonight about what we've done and talk a little bit about where we're going next, and then open it up for questions. So Jurassic Park Slope is, I left my notes on my seat. Thank you. Nothing ruins a good party like a velociraptor attack. And when a group of urban hipsters gets caught in a kind of whirlwind of Mesozoic fury, it'll take more than PBR and vinyl records to get them out of Brooklyn alive. It's an homage to the 1995 film Jurassic Park. It takes place remixing characters from that film and putting them into new situations, new character bases, and the perils of Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Instead of paleontologists traveling to the world's most amazing amusement park where nothing can go wrong, Jurassic Park Slope takes its characters on a hunt for Brooklyn's most amazing loft party where nothing can go wrong. While mysterious exotic islands of Costa Rica housed wonders unimaginable, and Williamsburg streets pose indignities and fashion eccentricities that defy understanding, the dangers that both areas face are the same: dinosaurs. What we started out to do was to explore doing a narrative piece with a very localized center. We're focusing on Williamsburg, and we're creating a story, a film piece, that can only be accessed in full through smartphone application. You have to go on a bar crawl, whether you drink or not, to Williamsburg to unlock all of the different pieces. Sorry. I don't know how to look anymore. To unlock the entire pieces of the film. You'll be able to see certain portions of it online, and obviously you can already see some pieces of it. But to unlock the whole, you're going to have to go and participate in different ways. But that's down the road a ways. Right now, we're going into primary shooting on the core narrative this spring. Not this winter, because not only are dinosaurs impossible to get to work in the winter, so are hipsters. But we've done a lot. Last summer, we started with a poster campaign to get people in, to find other creators who were interested in working on this. So we reached out to the most important celebrity in Williamsburg, which is Bill Murray. We put up flyers trying to incite Mr. Murray to call our Murray phone hotline. And while I cannot confirm or deny that Mr. Murray may or may not have called the phone, we did get a lot of interest, and it actually got us quite a bit of press from different areas. And with that, we have a really strong core fan base and some really great collaborators who we've been able to bring in to work on everything from CCGs and some print campaigns that are going to roll out this year to our director, our web designer, and all of those folks, just because we were able to get someone on a blog to post a picture of a flyer we put up. We also took dinosaurs to events to build our fan base. We crashed a few parties, and we put together a bar crawl last summer, and we took some of our characters out and about on the town. It was very, very hot, and we plan to do it again in spring. When we did this, we started the social media around our campaign. A number of contests, Facebook, and really talking to people about the project. We wanted to update people, but we also created a platform where people who are interested in the things we're interested in paleontology, hipsterdom, apparel, bicycles, have a place to meet and congregate and chat. The discussions about dinosaurs and hipsters have been robust, and everyone likes to have fun. We've made some friends through it, and the film is moving forward because of those connections. So we also put together a production blog, which is explaining how we've made every step thus far. Because one of the core principles that we're working on with this project is not just to make a fun movie about hipster eating dinosaurs, but to explain to others, students, people who have not yet had a chance to work in transmedia, what are the really low budget ways you can approach the wider canvas of transmedia storytelling if you're only familiar with one. If you're just getting started in filmmaking, or if you're familiar with filmmaking or game design, how can you use these same tools to make something of a slightly more ambitious scale? The barriers to a lot of these things are really low. They're as simple as printing something out of your computer or asking a number of people to collaborate with you on something. And with that, we've created a primer at the production blog that we're updating constantly as we create things, and we plan on consolidating into a curriculum after we've put together the whole film. But, you know, you can't say you have a project unless you have actual content on that property going, I mean, after a certain point. But so what we've started to do is, while we're in pre-production, we're doing interview profiles. We did our first one last November for election season. We had a political candidate who had attempted to get on the ballot in Williamsburg and then started a write-in campaign, put together a video, a diegetic video, in-narrative video that is still up at JurassicParkSlope.com, which was a election campaign ad based around velociraptor awareness, a very serious problem facing Brooklyn and the world today. We partnered with George Martinez, who is a really fascinating political figure who's been working in the local community for years. And not only did we have him talk about velociraptor awareness, but you can also find a video interview of him talking about what it takes to get involved in your community outside of an election, and the real problems that one encounters when trying to run for office in Brooklyn. They're not necessarily the ones you think, but the barriers to participation in your political community are lower, and you know, it's a matter of presenting the narrative along with what is interesting about the narrative, why we chose it, and highlighting that in our profiles. We have some coming up with independent bands, with party throwers who throw guerrilla events in and around the city, and let's see, what else do we have lined up? Non-traditional artists, all of whom are going to do an in-narrative short in the story world of Jurassic Park Slope, along with an interview that will give you some insight into how to do interesting projects in Brooklyn and everywhere else. Another profile that we have going on right now is, of course, going on right this very minute. We have just launched our in-narrative social media campaign. We have our core characters tweeting and blogging. The same way we set up a lot of the principal sites, we are having actual topical information that the characters are interested in, along with narrative pieces that are ongoing. And you just saw two of them. You just saw two of them, actually three, if you were following on Twitter. Their blogs are up now if you want to check them out when you get home. And there will be more in the coming weeks and months. We're looking at, with the aspirational curriculum, we want to make sure that anyone who gets interested has the potential to make fan videos to help contribute content to our story world. And we're already seeing people post related content online. And we're looking at local sponsorship. We're looking at the total budget for our project is fairly low. We're using really simple materials to put this together, and we're trying to keep the entire project under 10 grand. With that in mind, the idea is to keep dropping that barrier. The top end of what we're looking at is that, but we want to make it even less. because we want to show that not all of these things are hugely expensive. You can do a lot of them as you're putting together a production, and the experience is a lot more fun as a creator, and often a lot more fun for your audience. I guess I'd love to open it up to questions. I can't see you, so wave your hands or make a big hand.
So before we do that, could you give the addresses just for the folks that are streaming, just so that they could just maybe get them, and then we'll turn the lights on and we can do questions then.
Sure. The addresses for our social media, if you go to Jurassic Park Slope, which is JURASSICPARKSLO, because Twitter only allows you so many letters, you'll see that there is a list called Jurassic Park Slope characters. And if you follow that, you'll be able to follow all 4 of our live Twitter streams. And with that, you'll also see a list called Jurassic Park Slope collaborators, where you'll be able to follow our core production staff. And if you're interested in becoming a collaborator, you can email us at jurassic-park-slope@gmail.com or direct message. We're pretty easy to find.
Okay.
All right.
Could someone kick the lights on, and I'll turn the projector off, and we'll take some questions.
There you all are.
You have, I guess, now Botany and Clyde, and you have Jurassic Park Slope, and you have a lot of, I guess, like brands within the production. Do you
Right.
think that sort of diffuses the whole the concept and
Well, in some ways, it does present a challenge, because you have to present a portal for people to find these things. But there's also a lot of opportunity by being able to follow different narrative segments and different interest segments of our audience in different places. It's something that we're trying. It is an experiment. There are a lot of experiments going on in this project. But I think that honestly, so far, it's been really good. We've gotten a lot of people who are more interested in following Ellie than they are following Dr. Malcolm. But the people who follow Dr. Malcolm are not the same people who follow Ellie, and neither one of those are yet the same people who are following Jurassic Park Slope in their entirety. So it's a challenge, but I think if we can present it carefully in the portal, where you can find all of these things and be able to tag back from the individual sites, it should be really an interesting tapestry of characters and stories. All right, all the way in the back.
How do you encourage people to follow your characters, aside from coming to events like this, or spreading the word or engaging the audience?
Well, a lot of what we're doing is live events. We're putting together parties, we're putting together bar crawls, we're going and actually interacting with people on the street at events to drive their interest. We're working with a lot of different pathways in, and we don't expect that everyone will be interested in everything that we do, but we hope that a majority of the people will be interested in following at least one of those. And when we have the full thing finished, we'll want to check it out based on their affiliation to one of those pieces.
How far ahead have you written your narrative, and do you have a Bible?
We have a core structure. We know what we're going to do, but a lot of this is also improvisational. We're working with some really fantastic comedians. You've seen a couple of them. They're really funny, even with my writing.
How much of that was actually scripted?
We scripted that together, and we put together the scene outline and then improvised it until we got something we liked. And the characters had been building their work on Twitter back and forth in the time we haven't been in rehearsals. And that's been a great opportunity. It's a very theatrical method. And it's allowing a different sort of interaction with one another that's more casual character building, and it's a lot of fun. We're having a great time with it.
So something from the Twitter interactions might spark something in the
Yes.
live forms.
Yes, and we have a couple of ideas that came up in that we're going to follow up on in the future, but we have a core structure for the script. We know what scenes we're going to do. We know what beats we're going to hit, but it's a collaboration, a more theatrical method than a straight script.
Caitlin, we have a question from the stream.
Okay.
Gerald would like to know, I'd like to know how big is the community, and if you
Mhm.
think it's easier to locate your story to grow that audience.
Easier to locate. The problem with you being on the stream is that I can't clarify
I'll ask for
locate.
clarification and then.
Yes, yes. I'll start. We have a approximately 380 person Facebook fan page and a similar but not entirely overlapping group on Twitter. We have a far larger number of people who visit the site, and we've steadily been increasing in the way people are interacting with those fan bases. The Twitter feed is constantly getting new and heavier interactions from people, and the Facebook fan page is getting a more robust likes, interactions, people posting things. And I think as we go into production, which is a lot of live events in the places where we're filming, where not only will we be shooting, but we'll be, bringing the project to the attention of the people who are most likely to become involved, the people of Williamsburg and the hipsters of Williamsburg. I think that we'll see a lot more. And we've always had the idea that we would be driving this fan base by live events.
You got it right. You did it right.
Oh, great. Right behind.
I have a question. Do you think that if people don't follow the characters on Twitter or places like that, do you think they're going to miss out, they're going to lose out on what the story is? Because you said that there are going to be updates on Twitter and that's going to be related to what they had like right now, maybe.
That's a big concern. In my mind, everything needs to be able to stand alone as its own narrative piece. I mean, someone who's following it on Twitter should be able to enjoy the story as it's unfolding, and someone who's watching the final piece should be able to enjoy that and watch that all the way through without having to have seen those other parts to enjoy it, but those who have followed both will enjoy it in a different way. It's something that we're really taking into careful consideration in the way we're structuring it. I mean, each one of these tools that can be used for narrative has different strengths and weaknesses, and we're really trying to be considerate in the way we're approaching each one to tell a different story that fits into the story world in a fun way.
The reliance on the smartphone to put the final product together in that experience, have you had any concerns about that and the fact that it's not a ubiquitous adoption of smartphones?
It is. It's another concern we've had, and there have been a couple of different questions we've had about the smartphone idea. The first one is obviously that we don't want to set up a delivery method that totally excludes people from enjoying it in other places. So we've structured the whole piece so that part of it can be online and be an enjoyable narrative that doesn't have that technically has missing pieces but will be able to be enjoyed without those pieces. And another thing that we've run into is that even in the 8 months since we started working on this project, the different methods you can use to do applications like this on a smartphone have changed immensely. The new technologies that are coming out and the new platforms that we could conceivably utilize are evolving really rapidly. New ideas are coming up all the time that we're like, oh, it would be awesome if we could follow that, or it would lower the price in this way if we followed that. And I think that we won't actually know how precisely it's going to look on that application until after we've completed the shooting of it. Because in 6 months' time, when we plan to be wrapped on that, there may be something entirely different that makes this even easier to do for the actual programming and application.
Kind of second part of that question, if I may. The comic book industry, one of the things they do is they do trade paperbacks where they capture all the old issues, and so if you're just coming to something, you can buy the whole story.
Yes.
It's how I'm catching up with The Walking Dead. Okay, and so that's something that you can do. Do you have kind of an exit strategy when you're done playing this out, how somebody can ingest the whole storyline of Jurassic Park Slope?
Absolutely. It's absolutely something that is important to us, and you'll see when we launch the website again next week with a new design, or next week or the week after, with the material you've seen tonight. We will have recut it in such a way that even the people in this room or those following online will see something they didn't see from their perspective this evening. You'll see a different part of it, being able to look back. Yeah.
So obviously you've done a lot of work in these areas before. So with this project, you said you're doing a lot of experimentation.
Yes.
Are there things that have surprised you even with this and all this sort of like trying new things that you didn't expect?
I think that the biggest surprise to me was how rapidly the market and types of options one has working with the smartphone technology and application technology has changed. The story we have a good sense of. The working with actors and the production on that level, we have a pretty good handle on. But as far as the way that can manifest in different technologies, I think we've been very lucky in that we have a story that is as strong as it is, but also as flexible as it is to respond to those changes. We've had to look at things in new ways for the best possible reasons, because the availability of the types of programs has increased. The functionality of those programs has increased, and the utility of different social networking and social interactive platforms like Foursquare, Scavenger, all of those has become more ubiquitous. And that's not to say that everyone has a smartphone. We have methods for them to enjoy it entirely text-based that we're planning as well. But yeah, that's been the biggest surprise, because people are constantly coming up with things I never thought of. Yeah.
I guess speaking of people coming up with things you never thought of, I really love the improvisational aspect that you just spoke of, and kind of allowing people that are part of it to help organically develop the story itself.
Right.
I know at Starlight Runner, obviously you guys are huge proponents of Bible creation for story worlds and really kind of locking down the tenets of a crucial story. So I'm kind of curious as to what you've seen so far, or how you've approached it so far with Jurassic Park Slope. Has it been kind of a staunch kind of Bible type creation kind of thing, or is it more just really briefing in your collaborators and your actors and kind of just getting everyone on the same page? And have you found so far that that's been really working to the advantage, and what really has kind of allowed that to prosper?
So far, we have been pretty improvisational. We have a fairly loose structure, but it's nothing like the detail or locked down nature that comes with a lot of the Starlight Runner work, which oftentimes is for established properties. I mean, starting from scratch, we know essentially who our characters are. We know a lot of the core components of the structure. We know what its themes, its messages are, but we don't have it all set down in the way that one might if one was building a AAA video game, a feature film franchise, an array of games around that, and then a whole set of publications. We're doing it in a smaller scale, but as we go further, we're keeping careful track of what we have done. We're keeping a living document open, but because it is more experimental and we're trying new things as opposed to working with designs and programs that we're more comfortable with, we're trying to stay flexible in that as well. I mean, the story, the characters, what their wants, needs, core desires are, those are clear, but something may happen on Twitter that's hilarious and wonderful tomorrow that makes us decide we need to do a comic book. And we'll have to figure out how to do that. And do it for no money.
Caitlin, there was a question from the stream regarding financing. So small budget as it may be, where does that budget come from for an independent project like this?
Okay, we have several avenues that we've been approaching it. One, there's a clear desire to put it into a packageable material at the end. Right. And so the idea is that we're putting in money now that we hope to recoup off sale of the smartphone for a low price point, off potentially sale of tickets to different things, and other related products to what we're doing. We plan on doing, the standard apparel. We're looking at artists and local print shops to do limited edition runs of products and apparel. We also have been talking to the actual locations where we plan to shoot and the actual locations we plan to be key to the walking tour in Williamsburg about low-level funding, but for advertising in perpetuity. If you become a location, you will have traffic for the life of this project. Not necessarily a lot of traffic, but for the same price as advertising in the Brooklyn Rail or a local newspaper, you can have something where your advertisement is online, it's in the narrative of a film, it's driving people through gameplay, and that has appealed. It's been something that we've gotten some positive response to from local businesses. Because it is very localized, we're also looking at community groups. We're looking at ways that we can coordinate the use of certain things in exchange for publicity through our materials. We've looked at some of the less traditional grant methods. We are thinking about Kickstarter. We're thinking about we're looking at other platforms like SoCap, which has less utility for a very localized platform. But we're also looking at the Awesome Foundation. We applied for that grant. They do fantastic work in a variety of awesome things. And in the same way with the smartphone applications, there are more and more crowdfunding, more and more fundraising tools for low budget or low level loans that are coming to market every day. And we're keeping a close eye on that, and as we move closer to the time where we're spending largely, we're going to be posting to the blog what we've found about them.
Thank you.
What's the Jetson story? How did it get started?
How did it get started? My collaborator and co-producer, Steele Philippek, who is one of the characters, the one who you saw on Twitter, he is also a fantastic writer and a Starlight runner. We were talking about what one could, we both like dinosaurs, we both like fun, we both like silly things, and we were throwing around ideas, like you do, and it sort of fell upon us like a light from the Blues Brothers. It was there was singing, there was dancing, a choir showed up somewhere, and it was really odd. It was totally unexplained. It was us playing around. It was us having fun, brainstorming, and we came up with the idea, and it's one that other people seem to find as fun and entertaining and inspiring and delightful as we do. And it's stayed fun. And we figure as long as we're true to that original feeling of bringing people together and talking about things and sharing, it'll keep moving forward. And that's really the goal. We're trying to do something that's fun for everyone involved, where people can create and have some dinosaurs eat some hipsters. Yeah.
Can you give us any little tidbits, crumbs, insights into what to expect in film? Dinosaurs, big, large?
There are a few really under wraps secrets. I've mentioned one really under wraps secret that I couldn't confirm or deny either way. And we've experimented with a number of different ways to address the special effects aspect of what we're doing. And part of that is also coming from different collaborators who have approached us with interest. I don't have an animation background. I'm not a animator myself. But we've gotten some interest from a few. I'm a costume designer, and clearly I can put together a papier-mâché dinosaur head. And we've experimented with that. But at this point, I don't want to get into too much detail about what they'll look like in the final project, because we have a number of really good ideas, and I don't want to ruin the surprise.
What's the distribution plan for the future, specific? How do you, like, doesn't have to be theatrical release, but what format are you going to be releasing in?
Well, online.
Okay.
And through the smartphone application. So you'll be able to access parts of a bit of it online in a way that is a full story, but you'll be able to see the entire thing if you go to Williamsburg and do the pathway and complete the puzzles and stumble into the geolocation points that are corresponding to the locations in the actual place to unlock the full thing.
I may have missed this. I was trying to keep up online
Mhm.
and in reality. But you said the final experience was going to wrap up in 6 months, and then
The shooting of it is going to
Yeah.
wrap in 6 months,
The
fingers
actual-
crossed, because we are keying the shooting to some live events. We have yet to lock down the date on a couple of those, but you'll hear more about those if you go to our JurassicParkSlope.com or the production blog. You'll find out more about when those live events are going to occur, and from there it'll be a matter of producing the actual application. And as I said, we don't know precisely how that's going to look yet, because who knows, in 4 months something truly revolutionary might come out and change all of our ideas of what we want to do.
So transmedia can involve multiple platforms, but it seems like one of the ways you're approaching it also is that there is you're allowing your community to play in your garden and create as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a strategy for what happens when the community wants to go places you don't want them to go? Have you thought about that as the creator, how you're going to deal with that? You know.
Yes and no. Honestly, right now, the discussions are pretty broad. The things that people like and dislike, people have. I'm not sure I know what I wouldn't want them to talk about in that context. I mean, we're focused on things that people in Williamsburg like or think are funny, things that we think are funny or like, dinosaurs. A lot of it, because it itself is focused into certain things, it's followed those certain paths. So people go back and forth about paleontology, people go back and forth about hipsterdom. They make jokes, they joke back and forth kind of in the tone of what we've done. I really don't know what would come up in those discussions that I would think would be out of line. I mean, there's like forum moderation, but there's also, if someone does something that doesn't feel like it's part of canon or doesn't reflect what we would like, it's still their creation, and that has a place in what we've put together for the audience. But it's not. But the only narrative is what we're the narrative, the canon narrative is what we're producing. If people are interested in working with us to create something, we're very happy to work with them. But I think that something would have to be really obscene or really inappropriate in some other way for us to say we don't want to see what part of our project is, you were inspired to create out of our project.
Can I?
Yeah.
So as an example, once things are going and there's more of a narrative, and so you've got your story rolling, and I don't know what it is, but let's assume at some point dinosaurs had actually appeared, okay, in Williamsburg. So then somebody, tweets into the feed that, oh, they just saw a dinosaur in Topeka, Kansas, and they have a group of friends who are hipsters in Topeka, and they start doing that.
I would love that so much. I mean, we have a good sense of what our story is, but if people want to expand the story world, I think that could be the best possible outcome. What I would love to see is, and kind of what we're hoping to do by presenting this silly dinosaur movie, is that people will look at what we're doing and say, I can do that a lot better. And then for them to try it and to do something that we couldn't have come up with. I think that it's more and more the way people are approaching creation. And I mean, there are obviously some people in the audience who are doing it in whole new sophisticated iterations that are really thrilling and really interesting. Again, this kind of creation, it's the barriers to entry are lower. The ways you can distribute this kind of story are lower. And I think that there's a lot of potential for people in different areas of the world with different ideas and hopefully who are inspired to create stories about hipster-eating dinosaurs to participate. And if we could help facilitate that in some way, we absolutely would want to.
So is this project, are you doing Creative Commons license?
our assets at this point, I'm not sure I'm not sure how they will be distributed at this point, and so I'm not certain what parts of them would be Creative Commons useful. I mean, if we have like the responses to our contests we put up, and those are Creative Commons with permission. I think that our photographs are also going to be Creative Commons with permission, but we're only going to do that with ones that are not exclusively narrative. We don't, our actors are, you know, they look at what we're putting up and say, we like that photo, we don't. So that's going to be an issue, and because it is collaborative, we have to make sure that everyone who's involved with those pieces are okay with it. And again, because we're not totally certain what it's going to look like in the end product, whether or not that is really pertinent to its use, we want to be able to host it. But I think that there will be some pieces of it that'll be better suited to sharing that sort of collaboration, and others that just won't make sense for reasons of narrative or reasons of, you know, how would someone use that piece.
I guess it's the flip side of that question. It might be kind of a media question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Which, you know, there is a Dr. Malcolm, there is an Ellie the Botanist. These are Michael Crichton and probably Amblin IP. You're probably not under their radar yet, but if you've got a DVD or a movie that's available via VOD, or you're selling a DVD, do you have a plan for that, or what's?
We haven't thought about doing a theatrical release or a DVD. Or really even hitting those distribution places. We love Jurassic Park. We think it's amazing. That's why we're doing this. We hope that everyone here goes out and buys 7 copies of Jurassic Park, the 3-disc pack. There's a lot of evidence that shows that people who do similar projects drive the sale of the original. And that's really what we're hoping to do. We don't want to replace Jurassic Park. We don't want to threaten that in any way. What we're hoping to do is to celebrate that inspiring piece of material. And I would hope that what we're doing is not something that is threatening in any way to that, because we're fans of it. We love it. We're doing this because we love the original, and honestly got into the entertainment industry because we love it. And we're, you know, I think we're within the bounds of fair use for those pieces, but we're aware of it, and we're not trying to take that place, you know? We're trying to experiment, have fun.
Within the lines of parody, but
And our story is not, our story and our characters are significantly different from the originals. The context of what we're going to be putting into the full narrative is different substantially from what is in in Jurassic Park at the same time.
Any other questions?
All right.
Well, thanks very much.
Feel free to hang out for a little bit. We'll probably in the next 20 minutes make our way over across the streets to the president. And just one final note about anyone who wants to join our planning committee. Let us know today that you're interested, so we know how many people to expect for Tuesday.
Right.
It's not a lot of time. It just, we use your brain and your resources. So let us know if that's something you can contribute. And obviously we want to try to get as many different parts of the world involved, publishing and theater and film and interactive. So the more the merrier. Let us know. Thank you for coming.